to the Season of Self-Love, your daily dose of inspiration and encouragement. I'm your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to be here with you today. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery. Are you ready to elevate your mindset and embrace the power of self-love? Well, you've come to the right place. Each day we'll dive into topics that will empower and inspire you on your journey towards self-discovery and personal growth. Whether you're looking to cultivate healthy relationships, boost your confidence, or find balance in your life, this podcast is here to support your every step on the way. We believe that self-love is the foundation of living a fulfilled and joyful life. And together we explore practical tips, insightful interviews, and transformative stories that will leave you feeling inspired and motivated. So join me Monday through Friday as we embark on this daily adventure of self-love. Tune in to the Season of Self-Love podcast to start your day on a positive note and discover the limitless potential within yourself. All right, my beautiful people, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, March 13, 2024, and welcome back, my lovely listeners, to another episode of the Season Self-Love podcast. And I'm so thrilled that you are joining us today as we dive into a topic that that touches many of our lives, and that's balancing work and well-being. It is truly, as always, a pleasure to have Dr. Will with us, our beloved resident therapist that specializes in mental health and wellness. So, Dr. Will, thank you for being here to share your wisdom on achieving
Yes.
professionally and personally.
I'm delighted and devoted. I'm happy.
I like that. You know what? I love the words that you use intentionally. Like really. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. When I'm talking to you, I think about the 4 agreements.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. So this topic will be very interesting. I think we talked about it a little bit before we hopped on here, as because we do love what we do so much that sometimes it's a struggle to be able to separate, because what we do is about well-being.
Yes, it
But
is.
it's still a
You're
part of our,
right.
yeah, but it's still a part of
Mm.
our work, but sometimes that those lines do blur. And so I'm very interested to know. I'm all ears today. I'm all ears today.
What? No.
I am
You got
all
what?
today, and I'm
Don't worry. I'm gonna get it out of you. Don't worry. I'm gonna get it out of you. I'm gonna get it out. Don't worry. I'm gonna get it out of you. You think you done? I'm gonna get it out of you. Don't
I'm,
worry.
I'm I'm ready for this, y'all. I'm all ears. I got my purpose pen and paper ready. I'm just sitting here taking notes. No,
What's
but on
up?
the serious note,
Okay.
let's take a quick break and then we come back. And then we're going to get into this topic about balancing work and well-being with Dr. Will. All right, it's your girl, he got his Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. And we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, well, welcome back. It's your girl, you got his Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. I was trying to do something else and just got talk.
I felt it too. I felt it. I was like, "Ooh."
And also, I was like, oh, okay. All right, I'm here with Dr. Will. And I am so ready for this. I'm ready to hear. My ears are open. They are so open and ready
Yeah.
for this. But you know what I want you to do? I want you to set the tone for it. I want you to set the tone for all of this. And you know how we start. You say,
Yeah, I can do it.
yeah. I felt so good when we did that yesterday. So I figured let me come back and get some more.
I got you. I got plenty more. I got you. But
Thank
let
you.
me ask you, level 1, level 2, or level 3?
Okay, so let me ask you, with level 3, am I going to be able to continue this podcast?
Yeah, you will be able to continue and be still great at what you do.
Right, well, give
Yes.
me the highest then. Let's give it to me. Give
Okay.
me the highest. Now, if I ain't able to
Okay.
get this thing, I'll have to go on low vibration to come through there and put you in a headlock.
I got you. Don't worry. I got you. I can't fight, so that's good. Okay, don't do it. I can't fight. I can't fight. Survival of the fittest. I figured out where I'm at on the totem pole. I figured it out. I got you.
All right. You ready?
All right. Yeah, so I'm gonna invite you to just relax. Allow yourself to just follow your breath. We're not gonna worry about your inhale. We're not gonna worry about your outhale. What you're gonna worry about is your stillness. Feel stillness around your breath, around your body. You are a rock in a river, feeling the water flow right past you, dividing itself, flowing right through you. And with each breath, you get younger and younger. And you find stillness. What age do you see? Stillness, stillness, stillness. What do they look like? What are they saying to you? What do they want you to know? Stillness, stillness, stillness. Allow their words to flow through you. Give them the wisdom that they need. Stillness, stillness, stillness. Thank them for being still with you. And as you come back, you hear my voice, and your heart expands, your mind awakens, your body is energized, and the wisdom will be the things you use today that others will need from you. Welcome back.
All right, that was good. That was good. That was good. Yeah, that was good. All right, so I'm gonna share some with you guys in a minute. I'm gonna share the word. I'm gonna share the word. So if you're new here to the Season of Self Love podcast, it's something that we do every day, Monday through Friday. We do this to center, to prepare us for the topic in hand. But you know, Dr. Will be taking it to a whole nother level. Y'all saw he asked if I wanted one, two, or three. And I went on and did three, and he kind of tapped into something right there. And so if you guys were listening, and I don't know what word that you came up with, but I asked that you write it down. Um, and see how, but I'm going to share with my what my word was. And I think one of the questions was, one of the things is go to the age, and the age was 6. My age was 6, and it was like, what are they saying to you? What are they saying to you? And this is so. Mm, the word is abandonment, and it says use that
Mm.
word, use that word as a power. Use abandonment as a power. Abandonment for me has been a part of my power. But you couldn't tell me that years ago. So instead of
Mm,
it's been a power for me. Now the way is to harness it to where is of a positive power. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And we're starting to I've been hearing that word used so much now. And I think we're using it in such a debilitating language,
Mm-hmm.
such a traumatic
Mm-hmm.
inducing language and behavior
Yeah.
that we're missing out on the value of what it really can do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's amazing that you said that.
Yeah. Yeah. It said
Hmm.
use it for power. That's what I heard. Use it for power.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Use it for power. Yeah. Thank you.
I hope you're right about that.
What to use it for power? Yeah. Yeah. And it makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I've already written the outline for a book probably about a year and a half ago about living beyond the abandonment and what it looks like.
Mm.
Yeah. And remember the conversation that we had, this word showed up again, but in this time that it showed up in a positive way that I went through the healing of right. You understand what I'm saying? So it's
Yes.
not looking at it, it's having a different perspective,
Mm-hmm.
having a different perspective of what these words mean to you and how can you make them powerful for you instead of using them as crutches or stones holding you down.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. We have to change it up. We have to change our beliefs.
You have to change the narrative.
We
Yeah,
have
you have to
to
change
unlearn.
the narrative.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Mm, mm. Okay. All right, so let's get on to the topic in hand is about
Hmm.
balance, work, and well-being. And on this segment is talking about understanding the impact of work life and balance. And Dr. Will, can you help us to understand the psychological effects of work life and its being in balance?
Yes. So raise your hand if you've been in the pandemic. Hmm. Right. And so we have reset the way we look at work. We have set the way we look at obligation, and we've also changed the way we are controlled by capitalism.
Keep going. I just had a thought. Keep going. I just had a thought. Keep going.
Please go ahead. I'll remember my thought. Go ahead.
No, you know what? As you said that, something just came over me and it said, we are now in the process of resetting. That pandemic allowed us to slow and break everything all the way down. So now we are resetting everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We sure are.
yeah.
And what's my acronym for reset? Remove every saturation, embrace truth. And so
Mm,
there's a lot of saturation that was happening in our lives,
yeah,
and we were not able to embrace our truth. And this pandemic forced us to reset. And not everyone was okay with that,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we're now entering the final stages of the pandemic, which is we are now able to rest from the pandemic, but then we still have to recover. And so
Yeah.
we're entering the rest period of the pandemic, and then we're going to have to recover. And so we have not recovered yet. We
Mm-hmm.
have not,
Yeah.
right? And so a lot of this work that we are no longer looking at money the same anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're no longer looking at devotion towards work and organizations the same anymore. We have now moved away from the facade that was given to us, where we thought that these companies would protect us and take care of us, right? With like there are people that have jobs in California and they live in Montana,
Mm-hmm.
and they're asking, "Hey, come back to the office." Like, no, I can't work there. This is my life. My life is out here. This actually helps me work for you better.
Mm-hmm.
They are choosing themselves. They're embracing the truth. They realize that the company will not give them the home that they've actually created for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So work has more of a value to it, which
Mm-hmm.
means, but the value is in the hands of the people and not the organization.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
changing. It's
Yeah.
changing.
Mm-hmm.
And so even something as simple as Wendy's, right? Or they where they were talking about different surge prices. People were like, "No way! Are you going to pay the workers more? Are you going to like they're advocating and talking about these things?" So when we come to work, work has to have more value because people are learning that their lives are more than the money.
Yeah.
And they said like, "I can't work. That it costs too much to work." The thought that it costs too much to work, so they're looking at their well-being now. They're starting to recognize that their well-being actually has a price to it too.
Mm.
And so everybody's resetting, everybody's changing, and we have to be able to understand, when am I working and when am I in my well-being? And especially for my entrepreneurs out there and those of you that are creating your own businesses, you have to know the difference. And when you do know the difference, do you know when to pause and switch? Because if you do too much of one, or if you blend them too well, you don't know the state of your own identity sometimes.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So that's also why I never, down talk the 9 to 5ers, because the truth is that they understand the balance between, well, once I'm done with this job, I'm done. I don't need to go back. Don't ask me for help. Don't ask me to call in. Don't ask, like, I appreciate that because they know the boundary of that.
Right.
Entrepreneur, we think about this. I don't know what clock out means. I'd be mad when other people clock out of my company. I'd be like, "What do you mean you clocked out?" Oh, right, you have your own life. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wait, I have my own life. Like, let me get back to let me get back to my food, And so it's a very humbling
Yeah.
space. And so I just want to first just acknowledge that we are resetting, and that work and well-being both have a cost that are now being acknowledged openly.
Mm.
And I think that this is a beautiful time to be the thing we need to be, to balance what does living a healing lifestyle. This
Yeah.
is the time right now. This is the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I concur. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I do. Hmm. Yeah, I do. I'm just sitting here in deep concentration about it. Yeah, I do. When I well, I guess I can say this. I guess I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit, and
Hmm.
even though at times I had worked 9 to 5s, but even after my 9 to 5, I was still working on my businesses or my other careers and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
I've always been, as I call, a workhorse. A workhorse,
Hmm.
working and creating, new things.
Hmm.
I think we talked about it in the last one. This is more of my healing process, but also in my healing stages that I am now. I'm working on balancing my soft era.
Hmm.
Yeah, my soft era. And now
Hmm.
is, what does that
Oh.
look like for me? What does that soft era
Mm.
looks like for for me, you know,
Yeah.
and that is where I'm at now. It's finding
Mm.
out what that looks like for me.
Yeah, that it's so crazy that you said that, because I have a large clientele of women that have come to me helping that wanting help to get into their soft era. So I have a very large percentage of women in my clientele list that they come here specifically for, I want to enter my soft era. How do I do that? And so we go through an entire process in how to do that. And their work and well-being ratio is off the charts.
Yeah.
And so we go through a holistic wellness wheel, and we go through the entire inventory. I do the whole inventory with them. and their percentages are well over 100%. And so they are wanting the soft era, but they don't even have the lifestyle to even enter that. And so it's like you have to break your lifestyle before we can even talk about being soft. We have to figure out, we have to learn your hard style first before we learn the soft.
Yeah.
We need to know your hard era right now,
Mhm.
because that's what's overtaking all this. And so the strength and the power in the soft era is the ability to let go and
Yeah.
trust and have faith in that you are enough in this process. And having to work so hard in that, you actually harden yourself,
Hmm.
which actually removes you from the softness. And so there's so many different angles to that statement you said alone, that it could just, that could be a whole other topic right there.
As you say
Um,
that, I remember, I think it was last year, I read the book, The Surrender Experience by Michael A. Stringer. Amazing.
mhm,
And I read that book. And from that day forth, I chose to surrender, to allow, things to happen and not be
mm,
in control. And I ain't gonna lie, I still gotta check myself, because we're talking about 50 years of jumping in the driver's seat. And so but I'm more
mhm,
conscious of it now than anything. So I kind of, um, I'm wanting, that's what my heaven looks like on earth for me, is being in my soft era, in my goddess era, that, um, I understand where my why was, to be successful and have all of these things happen, which is going to happen, and that's great. But even in the process of me having those things, is that I can still be in my soft era. What I've opened up, and we talked about this before, is being open to receiving a community of people to come that have like mindedness just as I, that we
mm,
push the agenda, we can still push the message, that we all speak the same language, but still have our own voice to be able to speak. You understand what I'm saying? And so now that I am so open, because now I've surrendered and allow for these energies and these people to come around me. Um, and it's like more people see that now, that veil has come down. And so I'm allowing my light to shine more. So now the right connections are coming to me. You understand what I'm saying? So
mm,
to I don't have to prove anything to anyone. No, I've been doing it all my life. So why would I take that into my next book? I lived it
mm,
first book. I'm in my second book,
yeah.
and it's totally different. It's totally, from the time I turned 50 years old, that last
Mhm.
chapter was amazing, going into my second book of the first chapter.
Wow.
So right
Yeah.
now, this is going towards, we're in the middle of my first chapter, going to my second chapter on
Mm.
my birthday. You understand what I'm
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah.
saying? And so now, me knowing what that looks like, and understanding and being more aware of what those characters are going to be in this book, and how I am, to, what I'm saying, how I am, and what did I learn from that first book that I have, and how can I apply it in this life,
Mm.
and things that was
Yeah.
important to me then, are there as important to me now? No. Like, no. Even for, it's so many successful Black women out there, and a lot of times we had to be that, because maybe we were single mothers. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we had
Mhm.
winners. Maybe we had to do all of these things, but also we have to understand that you are worthy to be in your soft moment. You are worthy to be a goddess and allow yourself to shine.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At this time, we have to, so let me say this, because even when I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I see a lot of clips on the internet, and one thing is that really breaks my heart, is to see so many women bashing and male bashing.
Yeah, it really hurts my heart.
Yeah. And it's like, why can't we just take accountability for whatever that we're going through or whatever happened? Because trust and believe that all of this is learned behavior. And it's like, better because some men that, some good men out there. Some. So let's stop generalizing those men that are bad. Like, some good women out there. So let's stop
Hmm.
generalizing, those, us all in one thing. But then I also think,
Hmm.
let's stop judging people just because they don't do what you do. That's not who you're supposed to be aligned with anyway. So why even go over there? You understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. You're hitting some really prickly territory
Yeah.
because there there is this movement that people will follow the chaos just to say that they were a part of it,
Mm-mm.
right?
I ain't even
Just to say
smelling.
they're a part of it. You know what I'm saying? It's getting bad to the point where the era of the follower is being so empowered that they don't know who's leading,
Yeah.
and the leader is a target
Yeah.
rather than an actual example and model.
Yeah.
And so it's getting to the point where people are being okay with knowing that they don't have to be everything. They
Mm-hmm.
just need to know that you believe them enough.
Mm.
It's not even about how much they know, how much they work on themselves, how much they really try and work. Yeah, they just want to know that you'll follow them. That's
Mm.
all they care about. And so it's sad to see generationally people dismantling other people's identities
Yeah.
and wellness for the sake of I guess access.
Yeah.
The,
Click.
right? Yeah, access. And to me that's not access, infiltration,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's heartbreaking, and I think that we are losing the ability to balance what does it mean to have self-worth,
Mm-hmm.
because between work and well-being it's self-worth.
Yeah. Mm.
That's the thing that ties it together. That's
Yeah.
what balances it all.
Yeah.
So we have to acknowledge, like, what is happening to our self-worth, and why are we denying it so much that we're pointing our finger at other people.
Right. Mm. 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 You know, Monday, it was on Monday show. And last week, it started last week where I challenged myself to go live on TikTok.
Mm.
Yeah, I challenged myself to go live on TikTok every day, Monday through Fridays. I challenge myself to do that. And when I do it, it's like a BTS. So when I'm doing my live recordings in the morning for the season of self love, I have that playing, have it go live, and I'm doing the show. Then I go back over and speak to the followers that's following.
Mhm.
And so this guy came in, and he said, "You ain't got no clout." So I let that go. I was like, okay, mind you, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning, right? 6 o'clock in the morning. And so I guess he didn't get a response to me. So he come back again. And he said, "You just want clout." I said, okay, I'm gonna give it to him. I was giving to. I said, "You know what, baby?" I said, "This is not even about clout." I said, "This is a challenge for myself." I said, "But you know what? You want some clout, don't you?" I said, "But what I'm gonna give you a hug. I'm gonna give you a virtual hug through here." I said, "Because I don't know what made you come into here at 6 o'clock in the morning. Why are you
Mhm.
hurt, baby? Why are you hurt?" Right here, I got some bosoms right here. You can go ahead and put your head on my bosom.
Mhm. Who hurt you?
Right. Like, who hurt you?
Mhm.
And that's what's going on right now. So when you said about chasing the chaos, I said, "Oh, that don't even smell right.
Mhm.
Like, that don't
You
even
chasing it.
right. It don't
People
even
are.
smell right, right." So even and what I thought about when we did hot topics that day. We did hot topics and we talked about Monique, and we talked about
Mhm.
Satisa, but we put a spin on it to, we wasn't talking about in a gossipy way. We were talking about it more on what's the healing process that needs to happen for Monique in
We
her.
weren't criticizing it all. We were hopeful. We were
Yes,
hopeful,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah,
To find
exactly.
it even with Risa Tisa, like, so people can understand why is these things, where was the red flags and why did she miss these red flags and how, like different things like that. Um, and what I came to understand is that I love that we're able to do that. Even though something is trending, we'll try to find a way for not only healing and understanding what it is.
The integrity of the situation,
Yes, yes, yes,
right?
yes.
Even in the midst of storms and break and destruction,
Hmm.
there is still integrity
Yeah.
with the people involved.
Hmm.
And when you dismiss your integrity, the topic no longer matters.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't hold the ability to have that self-worth and be able to talk about that,
Yeah.
well, there's no point of our conversation,
Right.
right? And I think that the hardest thing is understanding that there are people that are very lonely right now in this world. We have so much ability, you have so much access, but people feel so denied.
Yeah.
What's happening in your home? What's happening in your neighborhood? What's happening in your family to
Hmm.
make you feel so alone
Yeah.
that you have to bother somebody else to be seen,
Yes.
right? What
Yes.
happened? What happened to you? A lot of times, that's the first question I ask. What happened to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the last question I ask on my psychological intakes.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you here today? And then the second question is, what happened to you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't say what happened to you that got you here, or what happened to you no, tell me what happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when they stop and they really think about it, it's not even about why they came here. It's not about why they showed up. It's not about why they contacted me. It was all about what they went through, and it
Mm-hmm.
had nothing to do with that intake. And I always have to ask that because I know that they didn't come here because they got issues with their girl or whatever it may be. No, what happened to you?
Mm-hmm.
And you find out a whole nother life,
Mm-hmm.
and you realize I'm like, and you've been holding that in for how long? How many years?
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
took you 60 minutes to accept that something happened to you,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know how to deal with it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, but instead you made it other people's problems. So that ownership, that self-worth, when you have true self-worth, you're willing to own your own problems as well. Self-worth isn't just about overlooking other people. It's about understanding that you are worth solving your own problems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that one. All right, so our next segment. We're just gonna go ahead and go into the next segment.
Okay.
Strategies for balancing work and well-being. What are some key strategies that our listeners can implement to find their balance?
Well, three things. Number one is knowing what is work and what isn't work. A lot of us have to accept that there are parts of our job that is fun and it is amazing and it does not feel like work. And so we have to start delineating between what is work and what is not work and what I do. And and two, you can have fun at work. So a lot of us have such a negative stereotype about work. Oh, I gotta go to work. Oh, I gotta work. There's still a social structure there. There's still an environmental structure there that allows you to be somebody that you normally could not be on your own. So like even if you work at a factory, there's still an identity at that space that you don't get to be in other places. And a lot of times the environment is not always as conducive, But it's important to understand that in that moment, you have a reason to be there. And the biggest thing is understanding that your well-being should never be compromised. Work can always be compromised. Unfortunately, work can always be compromised. Your well-being cannot. You cannot recover from the ailments of work, right? Because what happens is that you will be removed, or you'll remove yourself, and you'll have to get another job. You can be replaced for work. You cannot be replaced for your well-being.
Yeah.
And so my thing is that I'm not saying like go find a job that's fun. I'm not saying that, but you have to be able to make relationships there enough to make going to work fun enough.
Where it's enjoyable.
Healthy relationships will make work a part of your well-being. So invest in a relationship at work, and actually have like someone that you actually know, like you're cool with. Otherwise, it really becomes isolating and it becomes very unmanageable. So you have to do that. And I might add one more thing, actually. Begin planning your vacations, planning your outings, planning your weekends, having something to look forward to. A lot of us work so much that we feel like we can't take time off, or we can't take days off. And, instead of trying to take those holiday seasons off, actually take off the week after those or the week before those. Because the truth is that many people are going to want those days and weeks off. And it really doesn't matter when you actually have those times off. But with kids, it's different, right? But a lot of times the week before or the week after, you usually have those days off typically. So also try and schedule yourself in a way that makes sense for your holidays and also the non-holidays. Or like if there is a big holiday on a Thursday, Friday, schedule your holiday says your vacation on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So then you're entering the ending of something. And so it's more peaceful and more relaxing because it'll be less crowded. Right. So start changing the timing of your vacations and having something to look forward to as well. So that's a very, very great tip that I've learned, especially as a therapist. I have to work very much during the beginning of winter seasons, like October, November, December. Those are very intense emotional months for people. So for me, I make sure that I take out time during before and times after that. So January, February, I take a lot of my vacation time. And so, I always try to make sure I'm always scheduling when I know people are in their down periods in life. So it's just understanding that like your timing and self-worth is like, well, I do deserve a vacation. I do deserve this time off. I do deserve to hang out with these people. And so start planning those trips and things to look forward to. It'll make work so much more meaningful when you start actually having plans. And so having a reason why, I have to work here because I got to make enough money for this vacation coming up. Give your money direction. Give your work a direction. So
I like that. Say it again. Give your money direction. I like that.
Yes, give your money direction. Give your work direction, because that will also increase your well-being. And so a lot of people think, if I increase my well-being, my job will be better. No. Make your work healthier by having it directed towards your well-being. I have this job so I can do these things so I can have this. Give your money and your work purpose. If you're just going to work to pay bills, you will burn out. You will not have a good job life satisfaction. You will not make healthy relationships. You will not eat properly or do things. You need to give your work a meaning and a value to your lifestyle.
Y'all hear that? Do y'all hear that loud and clear? Do y'all hear that, Dr. Preacher Real over here? Did y'all hear that? So let's take a quick break. When you come back, I got a question for you.
Oh boy.
I got a question for you. And
I'm gonna take a break. We gotta take a break, right? We're gonna take a break. I'm getting this. All right, good. All right, let me get my water.
All right, it's your girl, you got us, Nyomi and Dr. here on this season of Self Love Podcast, and we'll be right back.
This March, Ask Naomi. Bridging the Gap presents to extraordinary guests who are breaking boundaries and sharing their unique perspectives. On March 14th, join us as we welcome Brian Reeves, a former U.S. Air Force officer turned relationship coach and author of Choose Her Every Day or Leave. Get ready for an eye-opening discussion on love, relationships, and the power of daily choices. Then, on March 28th, prepare to be captivated by courtesan Remy Martin from the iconic Moonlight Bunny Ranch in Nevada. Hear her inspiring story as she challenges stereotypes and shines a light on the world of sex work. Don't miss these compelling conversations. Subscribe now and tune into Ask Naomi, Bridging the Gap.
Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast with Nyomi Banks, where every day is a chance to embrace self-discovery and personal growth. Join Nyomi on a transformative journey, streaming exclusively on Spotify and Breaker. With daily episodes from Monday through Friday, podcast is your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and self-love. Dive deep into engaging conversations about self-care, mindfulness, and personal development. Nyomi brings you expert insights, practical tips, and uplifting stories from thought leaders in the field. Embark on a journey of self-discovery and unlock the power of self-love. Mark your calendars and tune in to the Season of Self-Love podcast, available every weekday on Spotify and Spreaker. Remember, it's time to prioritize yourself and embrace the beautiful season of self-love. Get inspired and join Nyomi Banks on the Season of Self-Love podcast.
All right, well, welcome back. It's your girl, Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. And I am here with our resident therapist, Dr. Will. Hey.
I am eager and elated.
I love it. All right, today we're talking about balancing work and well-being with Dr. Will. And before the break, I said that I had a question for Dr. Will, and it's a little personal, just a little personal. You being a psychologist, and you come, you have an array of different people that come into your office. Have there ever been a point that you were unable to? Was there ever a time that the lines were blurred, meaning that you found yourself after a session taking that session home with you, in an instance of not being able to leave it there on the couch, but where you've taken it home and you're trying to figure it out, or it has brought some kind of uneasiness with you, because maybe that you weren't able to help that person, or looking for more things to be able to help that person. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does. And so there's a blessing and a curse with what I do for myself. Because this is like an art to me. I can genuinely say I don't take it home. Because I literally reset between every single session, and I reset before I leave my office, and I reset when I get home, and I reset. I do a lot of resetting. But um I would say that there have been times um that I've had stories where I know I could have done more,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
There are children that I could not fight for. Um, where I saw the carelessness in their parents' eyes. I saw the black hole in them, and this I could see the child looking at me saying, "Please do something.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you going to do something?" And One sec.
Take your time.
Um, it's very difficult to look at a child and they're sitting in front of you at the age of 6, and they're telling you everything that's happening to them, and they're saying it so well, too well,
Hmm.
and they shouldn't be able to say it that well. But because it's happened so much, or it's happening so much, they can't, they don't know what else to say, but they just keep saying the same thing. And it didn't matter how much the system I had involved. It doesn't matter how much I called and told services, and didn't matter how much I advocated and went to the judge. Didn't matter how many letters
Mm.
I would write. Didn't matter how much parenting resources or opportunities I provided. I had to accept that they probably will never be the same after they left my office.
Mm.
And I do wonder who they become. I think about the little girl who came up to my desk when I was offering services, and she said, "Oh, I want therapy." I'm like, "Oh, why do you want therapy? You 5 years old. What do you know about there? What do you want therapy for?" And she told me exactly why.
Mm.
And I said, "Well, go get your mom, you know, and we'll sign you up." And she's like, "Well, I'll bring the paper to her." And then comes back and says, "She said she'll think about it." And I'm like, "Okay, well, when you get time, I'll be here." I stood there for 2 hours, and literally, she came by every 5 to 7 minutes,
Mm.
just looking at me, and it would tell me a little bit about herself and then run away. Come back every 5 minutes, tell me about her. It was cute,
Mm-hmm.
but in the back of my mind, I take children like adults.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that was an adult that was trying to find some peace and grounding with me, but they didn't know if I could accept them because they felt denied because you know, they had a parent that wouldn't listen to them.
Mm.
And so it's just, there are many stories like that. And one day we should talk about the hard stories that I do go through, because I do hold a lot in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and no one ever asked me about that. No one ever has ever really asked me about how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciate that. I really do appreciate you for that. But I think about the voices that I couldn't speak for, and they're right in front of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. First of all, thank you for
Mhm,
sharing that. Um, and I think this goes really into our topic too about balancing work and well-being. Um,
mhm,
and it's so funny. I have a friend of mine that he always talk about the superhero cape that we put on, you know,
mhm,
and that we work to be a superhero for everyone. And it's like who is our superhero? Who can we be able to be vulnerable with, and to be able to share what's going on with us, so we can have healing. You said not too long ago from the show that we had about healing people smell and look different, but also in that with us as healing people also, we still are going through the process of needing healing too, because even
mhm.
doing the work of service to others, and we exchange different energies all the time from that, and
Yeah.
that's very triggering for us, because the very reason why we do go into the field of serving someone else is that we knew that in our process that we wanted somebody to help heal us during that
Yes.
time. And because now that we feel like we're not above, but again, we're
Mhm.
ourselves last because we're focusing more on the goal in hand, and that's to help heal the world. But in the process,
Exactly.
continue to remember that we need our healing on as well. You know.
Yes.
Again, thank you for trusting me to be able to answer that question and allowing me to. And never ever am I wanted to be disrespectful at all. I just felt it on my heart to ask you that question.
No, I thank you for holding space for me. And I think that's the thing, is that we don't recognize that the work that I do is for the well-being of others,
Yeah.
you know? And so the well-being for myself is understanding that I can still feel. So, the fact that I can still feel that and cry and be open about that, it lets me know that my heart is still in the right place. It lets me know that I'm still human. And, just because I have a cape on, I can still die.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad at knowing that I'm strong enough to be vulnerable, and I haven't lost that part of myself doing this hard work. Thank you for reminding me
No problem. But no problem. No.
that. You're like, oh yeah, I'll send you the bill. Thank you, Dr. Naomi.
Woo, that was good. That was so man. Even when you were talking about the little girl that came up to your desk, and all I kept saying, she saw your light.
Mm,
She saw your light. She saw your light. She saw your light. And it's unfortunate that sometimes people see our light brighter than we see it ourselves.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah. That's just something that I needed to share with you. I don't know why, but yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's so real. That's so real.
Hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So our segment. Our segment. Look at God dog it. All right, we're gonna read over this segment real fast. Overcoming challenges and building resilience. So many of us
Mm,
face challenges in juggling work responsibilities and personal wellness goals. So how can we overcome these obstacles?
mm. Well, first gotta accept that if we're talking about resilience, it means that we're gonna be going through it. So before you go through something, you have to know why you're going through it. And a lot of us fail in our resilience because we don't understand the why. And so a lot of that work and and that process of success comes from understanding the why in our process. Well,
Mm,
why do I have to go through this? Well, why don't you want to go through this? Why don't you want to go through your process? Why don't you want to go through the pain of your own history? Right? I'm not asking you to produce anything other than understanding your why. Your why and why not is the foundation for that. And a
mhm.
lot of us that don't learn our why are repeating and returning to the beginning of our problem.
Yeah. I used to be guilty of that. Now, yeah, now I understand it all. So yeah, when you said that, I said, yep.
Hmm. Yeah, and I just broke my own cycle a couple days ago. I said I'm gonna go back and get my last other license, and because I realized that I worked too hard to think that I did enough, and so
Mm,
I want to put the control back in my hands
mhm.
rather than someone else's.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's always so good and refreshing to talk to Dr. Will. It is. It is. It is.
It's good. You're definitely cucumber water, right? It's different. It's something's different, but I don't have to say what it is. But I like it. It's great. It's
I got a
great.
little lemon in there. Like what?
It's a little bit,
Little
a little
rose
electric.
water, a little lavender
You're
balm.
right. Yeah, put lavender cucumber. I put that in there. It's nice. It's a nice blend.
Okay, okay. Okay.
It's refreshing.
Right. Somebody gonna say, so what do you mean by cucumber water? What do you mean by that? It's refreshing. Like seriously, have you ever tasted some cucumber water? That means it's so. Mm, Actually, you put a
Hmm.
little mint in there, it kind of just opens.
It changes everything. I'm
It
about to
does.
get a new bottle. I'm gonna get a new bottle so I can have a little diffuser for that. You're right.
Mm. Mm.
Figure that out.
Yeah. Well, you know, Dr. Will, always, it is so good. And I thank you. I thank you. You came working today too. And you shared. I mean, you always share, but I do.
Hmm.
I truly appreciate you. I really, really do. Not only does it help me, because they knew they had to send somebody to me to help me. Like, no, we got to get somebody so they can tap into you, so you can
Hmm.
fully open. And I thank you. Yeah,
I've been waiting for this moment to finally have a space where it actually makes sense.
yeah.
I denied a lot of spaces because I knew I wasn't supposed to speak there.
Hmm.
But this is a space where I know that people here are doing the work, are
Yeah,
wanting to do the work. And I want to be in that culture where people
yeah,
are willing and wanting to be the next step in their lives. So
yeah.
thank you for having this type of platform to do that. I cherish you for that.
All right, thank you. So I'm gonna be honest. And you said, really, Naomi, did you really? Yes, I did. Um, a few weeks ago, I was sitting and I was listening, doing the editing, listening to the show. And I said, you know what? This is an amazing show, and this is an amazing connection. And this is where that little self-doubt comes in. And this is where the self-doubt comes in. It's like I said, I hope that I'm not ruining this man's career by aligning with me. And at times that's where self-doubt comes,
Hmm.
in. And instantly, I think I got slapped in I don't know where it came from, but it slapped me in my head. And it was like, this is something that you asked for. And you understand now that there will be nothing that is given to you that is not right or aligned. And if
Hmm.
it's no longer aligned, what have you learned from that situation? So as you are in this connection, you enjoy it and you learn all that you can and you give all that you can to it and not worry about
Mm.
those other things. So I just wanted to share this with you and
Yeah.
with our listeners, because even though it might seem that, oh, Naomi got it all together, nah, and I'll be the first
Mm.
one that y'all know when it does seek in. But also, I will let you know, how did I overcome it? How did I get through it?
Yes. But I love that because the truth is that they say that the real trick of really having it all is
Mhm.
knowing that you don't have to have it all.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Right? You doing it. You doing it.
Dang, listen. Ooh, wait, can you see my little mugs?
Right. Right. It came out. It came out. Like, yes, chocolate Popeye. I love it.
Oh my God. All right, Dr. Will, I thank you for guiding us through such an enlightening discussion on balancing work and well being. And to our listeners, I want you to remember that prioritizing your well being is not selfish, but it is so, so necessary. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in today episode. And do you have any last words to say before you?
Mm. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
I know that's right. Here always. All right, so join us next time on the Season of Love Self Love podcast, where we will explore many more things about nurturing your journey towards self love. As I always say, always keep it sexy. See you tomorrow. Thank you for listening to the Season of Self Love podcast. If you have any questions or would like to connect with us, you can follow us on social media. Just search for the Season of Self Love on Instagram. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, feel free to email us at elevateme9999@gmail.com. And remember, you are worthy of love, growth, and happiness. So keep shining bright And I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Season of Self-Love. Be good to one another and yourselves, and always keep it sexy. Sending light, love, and prayers.